17-year-old Keiko Ishida was the kind of student teachers quietly hoped their children would grow up to be. Reserved, respectful, with grades as neat as her handwriting. She lived with her parents in a modest apartment in Narima Ward and commuted daily to her private high school across the city. Her days followed a pattern so tight it left no room for chaos. She boarded the Seibu Shinjuku line at the same time every afternoon. Always the third car from the front, always standing by the window. On October 18, 2018, she did the same, but she never came home. That evening, the skies over Tokyo had turned a shade of bruised purple. Light rain fell just enough to streak the stationed windows and give the neon signs a hazy glow. Keiko's umbrella was found still folded in her school bag days later. It was as if she hadn't expected to need it. The surveillance footage is the last known image of her. In it, Keiko walks calmly along the platform. Her bag is slung over one shoulder, her phone in hand. She pauses, looks down the tunnel, and steps onto the train. Other passengers come and go. Some glance at her. No one speaks. At 5:02 p.m., the train enters the tunnel between Numabukuro and Nakai stations ashore. Unremarkable stretch of track with no exits, no doors, and no stops. That's when her phone makes its final location ping. 60 meters into the tunnel. Then silence. By 5:24 p.m., her mother had texted no response. By 6 o'clock, the family was calling police. It didn't take long for the flyers to go up. Her school photo, slightly overexposed, plastered onto wet bulletin boards, bus stops, and station exits. Her name written in formal kanji. Ishida Keiko, Miss Shingo. But behind the calm face in the photo was a mystery already growing darker by the hour. Because Keiko wasn't the type to run, and even if she had, how do you disappear between two train stops? The police had few leads, no witnesses, and the closed-circuit cameras, they weren't working that day. So we went back to the beginning, retracing Keiko's steps, checking security footage, talking to classmates and co-workers, anyone who might have seen or spoken to her in the weeks before she vanished. What we found was a girl who seemed to have no enemies, no reason to run away, and most importantly, no reason to get on that train. Her disappearance made headlines, but there were no answers. Until the day the police got a call from a woman who'd seen the missing person S-flyer. She'd been cleaning out her late father's apartment when she found his diary, and in it, a name circled in red ink, the date October 18th, and the words Keiko disappeared. What happened next is classified, but the lead detective visited the apartment building where Keiko lived, where he found an overlooked piece of evidence, a tiny shard of glass from the window of the third car, the same car Keiko boarded, except it wasn't from the window of the train. It was from the window of the apartment where she grew up. Now, 3 years later, new technology offers a second chance at justice. When Keiko's case goes cold, the statute of limitations expires, and the only hope for answers lies with her grieving family. They've hired a private investigator with a new perspective. Can he find what the police couldn't? Or will this case join the 96% of missing persons that never make it home? What do you do when someone disappears without a trace? If you're the Tokyo Metropolitan Police, you check the security cameras. But when they reviewed the footage of what should have been a routine runaway case, they found it was too clean. The surveillance at Takadanobaba station shows Keiko boarding the train. Cameras at Nakai station, just 2 stops away, show the same train arriving. Every passenger accounted for except her. There's no footage of her exiting, no images of her changing cars. Her Suica card, the rechargeable pass used by most commuters, was never tapped again. It was as if she dissolved somewhere inside the tunnel. Police initially suspected a fall. Perhaps she'd tried to switch train cars and slipped, only to fall onto the tracks. But the doors on Tokyo commuter trains don't open between cars. There's no access from inside to the track, unless someone forces the emergency exit. Days later, maintenance workers inspected the tunnel. Near a small emergency door, barely visible under the grime and steel, they found something strange. Shallow scratch marks, irregular, scattered along the paint, human-sized, not deep, but frantic. The door itself was locked, still sealed. Back above ground, things became stranger. Keiko's school bag, missing from her person, was discovered nearly 4 kilometers away, sitting neatly on a park bench in Higashinakano. It wasn't dumped, it was placed. Inside were all her belongings. Textbooks, stationery, her umbrella, a book she'd borrowed from the library, all dry, all intact. But her phone was missing, so were her house keys. Authorities canvassed the area. No prints, no witnesses, no CCTV of anyone placing the bag. Then came the interviews. Her friends said Keiko had been normal, maybe quieter than usual that week, but nothing unusual. She wasn't the type to lie. She didn't miss classes. But one boy, a classmate from her homeroom, stood out. His name was withheld publicly, but the media quickly picked up on his behavior. He laughed awkwardly during questioning, refused to make eye contact. He was caught whispering something to another student as they left the principal's office. I told her not to go down there. When pressed, he said it was a joke, nothing more. Still, rumors began to spiral, and police did find one thing he'd written in a notebook, reportedly confiscated by the school. A hand-drawn map of the Seibu-Shinjuku line. One tunnel circled in red. Next to it, a single word. Mouth. The boy was never charged. His family hired a lawyer. Within weeks, they moved overseas. He never spoke to media again. Meanwhile, back underground, the scratch marks remain. The emergency door was examined but never opened to the public. Officials said it led only to a maintenance alcove, sealed for decades. But when asked for photos of the inside, none were released. This is one of the most mysterious missing persons cases in recent history. And if the theories people have come up with are anything to go by, things are about to get even weirded. With no witnesses and no solid leads, the police were stumped. So as the days turned into months, and police leads thinned into silence, Tokyo's online communities filled the vacuum. Some theories were grounded, others were not. One viral TikTok, posted weeks after Keiko's disappearance, claimed that the stretch of tunnel where her phone last pinged was part of an old, abandoned train line, the kind used during the war, then sealed off. The video, bathed in glitchy filters and whispered narration, called it the Phantom Platform. It quickly racked up over 2 million views. The theory that a secret ghost station still existed between Numabukuro and Nakai, one that sometimes appears just long enough for someone to step off and never come back. Most brushed it off as urban legend, but a few urban explorers didn't. One group, operating under the alias, documented a late-night infiltration of the line service tunnels. In grainy night vision footage, they crawl through a side vent, past rusted signage, and claim to find a sealed door with flaking Japanese kanji, Tomada style. Beyond that door, the video ends. The group says they were caught and fined, but in the comments, others chimed in with eerily similar details. Whispers in the tunnel, old signage, a strange smell-burned rubber, and ozone. Then came the connection no one expected. In a now-forgotten police case from 1994, another young woman, Naoko Uemura, was reported missing after boarding a train on the same line. Her disappearance was filed as a runaway, but her father insisted she vanished on her way to cram school. During a heavy rainstorm, on the same stretch of track, he died in 2007, alone, still searching. When a journalist asked the police whether the two cases were connected, the official answer was firm. No link has been established. But culturally, the unease was growing. Japan is no stranger to tales of vanished people. From Kamakusha, the traditional folklore of spirited away, to modern anxieties about isolation and unseen violence. In Keiko's case, both traditional fears and urban alienation seemed to overlap. Some said she was lured into a trafficking ring, her bag placed as misdirection. Others believed she had found something she wasn't meant to, something that got her silenced. And some still insisted she stepped off into a station that shouldn't exist. Meanwhile, the classmate, the one with the map, had gone completely dark. No social media, no interviews, his name never leaked, and his family refused contact. Even his former classmates didn't know where he went. As the third-year anniversary passed, the case had stalled completely. But some shadows don't fade, especially in tunnels. This is the longest-running unsolved case in Tokyo. Officially, the disappearance of Keiko Ishida remains unsolved. No suspects have been named, no body has ever been recovered, and the police have quietly closed the active investigation, citing a lack of new evidence. But the city remembers, especially the parents. Her father, who once commuted along that same route, retired early. Her mother still sets a place for her at dinner during the open season, when the spirits of the dead are said to return home. Keiko's bedroom has not changed. Her textbooks still lie in a neat stack. Her uniform remains hanging in the closet. A small stuffed bear, worn at the edges, sits propped on her pillow. They dust it weekly. They keep the door open. The boy who once whispered, "I told her not to go down there," now lives in Canada, according to scattered reports. Attempts by journalists to reach him were denied. Some say he changed his name, others believe he changed more than that. There are no more viral theories, no new sightings, just a few candlelit vigils held quietly at the park where her bag was found. Some leave letters, others leave train tickets. In the end, it's not just about what was lost, but how it was lost. How a modern girl, in one of the world's safest cities, could vanish on a crowded train and no one saw it happen. No scream, no alarm, just a final phone ping in a tunnel that doesn't stop. There are places in the city where time forgets people, and if you listen closely, just beyond the hum of the rails, you might still hear someone trying to get off. Every year, on the same day, someone leaves a white rose on the platform. Thank you for watching. Go to our channel for more.